Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. If this is your first time here, then welcome. If you've been here for a second or third time and you have not yet subscribed, but you keep coming back to watch the videos and hear all of my foolishness and hear me speak my speech, then child, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Tonight we are going to be reviewing The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 13, episode 13. 10, 10, 20. Honey, it's numbers all up and through. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so when the episode first opens up, it says one day until Cynthia's wedding. So Cynthia and some other ladies are getting a massage. Honey, they massaging them with gloves on, child. I wouldn't even want that, child, because the massage is not the same with these latex gloves while you getting a massage. It was just her and her daughter. Correction, not ladies, just her and Noelle. We see them getting a little massage with the ladies in the gloves, child. COVID friendly, honey. Then we see Portia talking about how good she's going to look for the wedding because Dennis is coming. You know you got to look good when your ex coming through, honey. Show him what he missing. You know what I'm saying? Then we see Storm, a.k.a. Drew, with her family. And that was a cute little scene real quick, honey. We flashed on through the perfect family and kept it pushing. So now we see Cynthia getting ready for the rehearsal dinner, honey. Cynthia comes in with these Papa John's pizza boxes. Child, please listen. If you're gonna give me some pizza for a rehearsal dinner, honey, after I rehearse walking down the aisle, I'm gonna go on back to my domain and eat my food at the house if you ain't gonna provide me with a real meal. Child, what? And then they all packed into that little lake house in that one room, honey. Oh my goodness, child. Cynthia will do anything. So as she's coming in and putting the pizza down, here comes Mal talking about I need to talk to you. Cynthia was like, oh my gosh, about what? She probably having flashbacks of what you and that mama did to her last time when she was getting married to Peter and y'all were hiding the marriage license and all that stuff and acting like you didn't know where it was and she couldn't find her shoes and all this. Like, no, Mel, now's not the time to be talking, child. Leave Cynthia alone. You know how her nerves get when it's time for a wedding. So all the ladies start to show up. Eva shows up first, and I was so shocked when I saw Eva because I'm used to seeing her pregnant. So when I saw how tiny she was, I was like, what's going on with Eva? But honey, that's her normal size, child. I'm just used to seeing her pregnant every season. Let's move forward. Cynthia lets everyone know that she's happy they could come. There's a hurricane coming tomorrow. She did say that she felt a little bad because the press was eating her alive. Honey, they were tearing you up, as they should. There is a whole pandemic going on, and this seems very self-serving and very selfish. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Y'all can argue down in the comments amongst yourselves because I will not pay attention to not nothing that is saying that what Cynthia did is right, because it's not. She should have waited to have this wedding at a later date. But because it is Cynthia Bailey and her head is always in the clouds, she has no idea what's going on here on earth. So she decided that she's still going to keep 10, 10, 20. And she's doing that because it sounds good. You know, 2020. Girl, wasn't nothing good about 2020. But if you want to do that, try to set yourself off. Anyway, so she's saying that the press was tearing her up because she was having her wedding during COVID. She's like, we're taking all the necessary precautions. We have hand sanitizer and we're checking temperatures. And those that can get COVID tests are getting them, but we can't force them. Yes, you can. Either get a COVID test and present a negative test result or do not enter. You ain't finna get me sick and killed, honey, before I can go on the honeymoon. Child, please. You can force them. This is your wedding. Child, Cynthia's so silly, child. Anyway, then here come Kenya showing up. Then all of the girls go out on the porch. Eva was like, yeah, Wendy Williams was brutal. You know what? I don't care what nobody say about Wendy Williams. I love me some Wendy Williams. And she was not brutal. She was brutally honest. And I mean, I stand with Wendy. I feel like that this was selfish. If there was no need to have this wedding during this time when people are losing their lives. So I feel like this could have been postponed, but we've already visited that. Wendy Williams said what she said, and that's on period. Okay. So they're sitting on the porch talking. Here comes Candy walking up, honey, shield and mask free. I'm like, child, Candy just came for the food, honey. Ain't no food in there. You want a slice of pizza? And they probably done ate that. It looked like she carried over 3 boxes, child. You done missed the food, honey. So Kenya comes up and they start talking. I'm sorry, Candy comes up. Candy comes up and she's like, oh, I forgot my mask. So Cynthia was like, oh, I have plenty of masks in the house. Let me just go get you one. So she goes in the house. She comes back out. They start talking about this bachelorette party yet again. Kenya will not let it rest. She will not be happy until whomever it was, allegedly, is exposed. That's the only way Kenya gonna be happy, honey. So the reunion we gonna be in for it because she's gonna make sure that she names names, child. So here go Eva being messy. You ain't even in this. You're not even on this season. Oh, messy girl. So Eva was like, "What's this about Tanya? So what happened with Tanya?" So then Kenya was like, "Well, Tanya was definitely hugging and kissing all up on Portia." So Cynthia was like, they're all grown. It doesn't even matter. So here come Eva again talking about, when have y'all started saying what we can and cannot talk about? Because I have been full on lied on. And Candy was like, I've been lied on too, honey. Candy been lied on worse than anybody, child. Season 9 will never be forgotten. So Eva, shut up, girl. Ain't nobody really even just say nothing about you, child. You weren't even in scenes because you were too busy being pregnant. Child, please hush. So Kenya starts talking and piping up yet again. She was like, well, I'm just gonna say that Tanya was kissing and Candy, and Candy was like, I don't want to ruin her relationship. I don't blame you, Candy, because I mean, quiet as it's kept, this is some bullshit. Okay, y'all were in each other's company. It was supposed to be a no judgment zone, yet all that you have been doing since this happened is judge. So just be quiet. Oh my goodness. So then Kenya tells Candy, I like the fact that you didn't leave me out there on the front lines. Please don't reference front lines, during this BS that you got going on with BOLO and your investigation, honey. Front lines should be reserved for the people who are working hard to make sure that we keep our lives, honey, during COVID. You need to just be quiet, y'all. So Kenya's like, you made sure that you're with me on the front lines and I need you to have my back. And Candy was just basically like, girl, leave him alone. But Candy, let me say this to you. Because you all season long, you have been saying something without saying something. So you looked at Cynthia and said, Cynthia, you don't remember what happened on the coffee table? And Cynthia was like, no, I didn't see anything on the coffee table. And Kenya was like, there was some lips. And so then Candy said, well, as long as those lips are not on my lips, then I'm fine. And I'm like, Candy, why would you even say that? Child, all y'all messy, honey. Messy for no reason. Anyway, moving right along. Drew goes over to Shamia's house for a niece party, okay? It's supposed to be a no judgment zone. Hashtag girls just want to have fun. So then Shamia gives Drew this shirt that says lickety split. Y'all know how I feel about that, honey. I'm like, oh my God, we back with lickety split. Child, please leave that alone, honey. And Drew, please keep this dark hair. That is very becoming of you. It makes you look put together. Even if your clothes ain't right, that dark hair on you is everything. Okay, let's keep that. Let's keep that energy. So then Portia shows up and then Marlo gets there. I guess it's supposed to be Bachelorette 2.0 or something. I don't know what's happening. So Marlo was there all sitting down. Marlo's like, y'all going to the wedding? And the girls were like, of course I'm going. And Drew was like, I'm supposed to be singing. I'm like, Drew, honey. Okay. Drew starts talking. She's like, well, Kenya had posted a picture and she had this hashtag, it wasn't me. And then I look at Marlo's page and Marlo had the same hashtag, it wasn't me. I was like, what is that all about? Drew, stop trying to get some mess started, girl. And Marlo ain't what you want. I'm gonna tell you straight up, honey. Now, she might not be the best reader in town, but she will throw out some facts that will stun you and have you looking a fool. So please leave Marlo alone, girl. Please, I don't feel like hearing that. So Marlo was like, well, my 13-year-old nephew came to me, the one who's on the internet all the time, and he asked what I did at the bachelorette party because of what he had read. So I simply posted hashtag it wasn't me, but I didn't know that Kenya posted the same thing. It was clearly a coincidence because Kenya is still blocked. I'm like, not Kenya still blocked, y'all. So Portia was like, well, I feel like, in her confessional, she said she feels like it's super calculated that Kenya just so happened to make up with Marlo at that time. She needed somebody weak and gullible on her team. Portia, honey, I know you didn't, honey. People in glass houses, sis. Honey, Phaedra used you as an entire pawn to take Candy down season 9. Now that was a weak moment right there. That was weak and gullible. So don't be that girl, honey. Don't do that, because what you don't understand is, and you will see this back before the reunion, Cynthia made the two of them talk. Kenya did not go and solicit Marlo. Cynthia put the two of them together. So cut the already, okay? So then Marlo was like, well, if you don't want to be around Kenya, speaking to Drew, if you don't want to be around Kenya, you don't want to be around that energy, then that's fine. But Portia is not going to dictate who I'm friends with. Portia was like, well, where that come from? Because I didn't say anything to you about who you can be friends with. In the midst of all this, Latoya shows up, honey, as if we needed anything else. She comes down. They're like, here, put on this shirt. She starts stripping. She got good boobs. I ain't gonna lie. She got good boobs, honey. They don't look like they fake. They sitting up, though. So she starts stripping. Portia looking away like she don't want to look. Child, honey. Okay. So then they start playing Jenga. And they're like little, like dares or truths on this Jenga, piece. So the question that Latoya gets, she said, if you could smash someone in this room, who would it be? She's like, Drew. I'm like, okay, they're trying to be lighthearted and play. That's cute. Then Marlo gets a dare to do 5 laps topless. Marlo got some good boobs too. Them things was sitting up too. So she runs around 5 times. They're laughing, having a good old time, child. So then, Latoya starts making fun of Portia and the way she walks. And so then she walks past the signage and she's like, oh, girls just want to have fun. So why are they keeping this up and worried about what we're doing, especially with BOLO? So Drew was like, obviously you were worried about it. Because you had something to say about what I was doing. So then when she said that, then Latoya was like, well, B. Scott posted about about Tanya and Portia and about what happened at the bachelorette party. So she said, I feel like Kenya leaked it. Portia said, no, bitch, I feel like you leaked it. I'm like, what is going on? And she was like, I feel like you're 2 different people. 1 minute you're over here on Kenya's team, and then the next minute you're over here with us. So her and Drew start arguing, and she was like, you don't respect me. You told me I don't respect marriage. And then they start arguing back and forth. And so Drew was getting all up, honey. Drew let her have it though. I gotta give it to her. Drew let her have it. She shrinks down when Drew gets a hold of her. And I'm like, girl, you let Drew punk you? Girl, bye. So then Drew was like, you know what? Play in your makeup, play on YouTube. Drew, honey, let me speak directly to you. Honey, not too much on YouTube. Ain't nothing wrong with getting a check off of YouTube. Okay, now don't do that no more, honey. I'll let you. This is like the 3rd time you just spoke on YouTube. Let that be your last. Okay. So she says, play in makeup, dress up on YouTube, but don't play with me. So then Portia was looking at them like, y'all having this fight, child. Girl gone. So then Portia was like, well, can you repeat it to me again? Because maybe I wasn't ready to receive it. I'm like, okay, AKA I was kind of buzzed. So repeat it, child. I was probably drunk. So Latoya says, well, I'm just saying that I feel like Kenya leaked the story because, and then Portia was like, yes, because how would B. Scott, who is your friend, get the story? And so Latoya would start saying, well, you know what? Kenya is going through a lot right now. And Portia was like, what's she going through? So then she says, well, she's going through a divorce and Mark is asking for custody and alimony. And Drew, I respected you right here because you said, hey, watch what you say about her business. Like, just be very careful what you say about her business. And that was a real moment because that clearly showed that Latoya is a fake, honey. You're fake and a flip-flopper and you are not to be trusted. I would not speak anything around you because it will travel. Just know that. And Drew, honey, your marriage is not perfect. You start piping up talking about I got a perfect marriage and a perfect hairline and 3 perfect kids. Girl, I'm not even gonna dignify that response, honey, but all I'm gonna say is Tampa. All right, let's move forward. Cynthia is there sitting with her mom and they're talking about everything that needs to be done. So Cynthia said in her confessional that she invited her dad, but he wasn't coming nowhere, honey, because COVID was coming out. And I don't blame her daddy, honey. That's a smart man. And she was like, I just feel so good about it. It's actually a relief because now I don't have to deal with backlash from my mom. So Cynthia's mom gives her some words of advice. And she's like, you know what? Just let Mike be Mike. You be Cynthia. Y'all be friends first. And if you have to cuss him out, honey, apologize the next day. I'm like, now that's some advice. Okay. Now that's some advice for you, honey. I might have to put that in my pocket, child. Let me put that in my pocket. So then we see all the girls starting to get ready for the wedding. So Portia says she told Dennis she didn't want him to be there. So then when she said that to him, he posted single AF. And when he posted that, of course, we picked up on it and we thought it was because of BOLO or because of this and because of that. So it just looked strange and that upset her. Okay. So then Drew calls Cynthia and she's like, Cynthia, girl, you look beautiful. I'm just saying, I don't think I'm going to be able to, Sing. And Cynthia was like, well, that's okay. We just are happy that you and Ralph are actually coming and gracing us with your presence. Cynthia, honey, it was a blessing in disguise, child. And Drew, your voice is gone because you was hollering all night at Latoya, never, forever, ever, forever, ever. So that's why your voice is gone, okay? But child, quiet as it's kept, honey. Now, Cynthia, don't have Candy fill in now. I'm not playing with y'all. Chill, everybody, chill. No, we're good. Okay, let's move forward. So then Cynthia's looking around the venue and she tells, she's telling us that she feels at peace about this COVID wedding. Selfish, okay? Cynthia says, that her last wedding was some bull, quite frankly. And that she loves Mike and he is everything that she ever hoped for. And that they are so compatible. And they are, honey. They just as corny and in love as they can be, child. Go on, Cynthia, honey. You found your Prince Charming, honey. Here, him and his hairline, okay? No shade. I love y'all, honey. But y'all know I got to say something. Cynthia puts on her dress and it actually looks much better now that I'm seeing it on camera, because when I saw pictures of it, I'm not gonna lie, back then I was like, Cynthia, this is what you chose? Girl, I don't like that. But when I saw her tonight on camera, I'm like, this is beautiful. Cynthia looked beautiful. So now it's time for the wedding. Honey, I'm looking at all these people packed in here. Did y'all see all those people packed in there like sardines? Oh, when I tell y'all, my heart was beating so fast and my palms were sweating, my nerves was bad, honey, like I was there. Cynthia, that is entirely too many people packed together during this pandemic. Child, Atlanta say, to hell with it, honey. Child, oh my goodness. So everybody's packed in. It's time for the wedding. And Drew is sitting there and she says she remembers that she didn't actually get to have a wedding. It was just her son, and the officiant. And she feels like that her and Ralph deserve a wedding. I feel like everybody deserves a nice wedding. If it's not your thing, then it's not your thing. But if it is your thing, then I see nothing wrong with having a really nice wedding. So then Cynthia comes down the aisle. She's looking beautiful. But Cynthia, you were touching everybody's hand. Honey, y'all already packed in here. And then you're touching people's hand and oh my God. Luckily, I saw an interview where Cynthia said that no one at her wedding contracted COVID. So that's a blessing, honey, because it would have been touch and go there for a minute. Then after that, Mike says his vows. He says he loves and respects Cynthia. And then she says she's happy and she's always wanted someone like Mike that she could be compatible with. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. So then we go to the reception part, right? And everybody dancing. And then somebody's mic was hot, and I think it was Eva and a producer. This is what I'm assuming. Now, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong or help me out in the comments. But the person was like, baby, they was revealing some things, honey. And they were like, well, did you hear about the bachelorette party? And yeah, and lips were on lips and vaginas and this and that and BOLO's DICK, honey, because y'all know I ain't finna say them kind of words on this channel, okay? Finna have YouTube hem me up. And BOLO's thing was a mile long, and honey, they just talking, and I'm like, oh, y'all mic is hot, child. Oh my goodness. So that's basically how that scene ended. Then we see Portia. She meets up with Dennis for dinner, and so he was like, so what do I owe the pleasure? And Portia was just like, I just want to have a conversation with you and dinner. He was like, okay, I want the same. So Portia says she's mad because his post coincided with the whole BOLO thing, and she didn't like that. So they're ordering their food, and Portia, don't think I didn't hear you try to say, and a short rib. I heard that, vegan girl, honey. A short rib is not on the vegan menu. Child, Portia gonna be vegan for a little bit every season if she don't do nothing else, child. Oof. So Dennis was like, you know what, we're too old for this. And she was like, what does that have to do with anything? And he was like, we're 40 years old. She was like, I am not 40. Well, you are now, girl, honey, and it didn't matter if he was 40 or not. He's right. Y'all are too old for this. So then they start arguing back and forth about them being single. And Portia says he expects too much from him. And so she was like, I know you, and I know you doing your thing. And he was like, I'm not dating. She was like, you're not dating, but are you fucking? And he was like, you know what you're asking and what you're saying is not important. Portia, let's go with the yes, honey. He gave a Ralph answer. Child, we're going to go with the yes. Dennis, all funny looking self. So then Dennis said that they are basically using PJ because when he calls the mom to try to get her mom always takes her side, and that Portia has thrown him out 3 times. So he doesn't feel like they should stay together actually coexist in a space together, not actually be together. But the mom always has Portia's back. And whenever he calls about PJ or anything, he's not able to see her. And that made Portia really emotional. She was like, no, I would never want to come in between you and PJ's relationship because I was not always there with my dad all the time. So, no, I would never want to come in between that relationship. So then Dennis was like, I'm just tired. And Portia was like, well, I know you're tired. And then she starts crying. They show us a little flashback of their relationship and things that happened with them in the past and how they went from being so excited about being pregnant to getting proposed to them moving in together, and then to now this. So she was like, well, if we didn't have PJ, I don't think we would be together. And he said, let's cheers, honey. And they did a little toast. I guess they came to terms with they are just going to be co-parents. But this is the thing here. I feel like this. If you can make it work, make it work. A broken home and having your children go in between you and their father, that's not what it is. I'm just speaking from total experience. I got married and then I had my child because I didn't want to have to go through weekends or every third Thursday or whatever this junk is that they put together. And I'm in that situation anyway. And it was never something that I expected to be a part of my life. And it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's hectic. It's emotional. So if you can work it out, and it seems like the both of y'all still care about each other. So if you can work it out, child, go and work it out, honey. And stop hanging out with BOLO, honey, and them bell-bottom jeans, child. Being all feminine and male stripper like, honey, child. Didn't say much to look at, but honey, go on back and get him and work that family out, child. All right, so that was my review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 13, episode 13. This was a pretty good episode. If I had to rate it, I would rate it an 8.5. Thank you guys so much for listening. Sound off in the comments and tell me what you thought about tonight's episode. Do you think that Kenya should let this go? Do y'all think Toya is a flip-flopper? Do y'all think Drew's wig looked good? Honey, just tell me down in the comments. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.